Hey guys, how's it going? Josh here. So Nebula has sent me two of their latest projectors for me to check out. This is the Nebula Capsule 3 laser, and this is the Nebula Cosmos 4K laser. They both obviously use laser, as the name implies. This guy is gonna be more portable, more compact, and it actually has a built-in battery which lasts 2.5 hours. So you can literally just toss this in your bag and watch a movie anywhere you go. And then this guy, while it does have a huge handle on the top, and it's still gonna be portable, it's gonna be a little heavier and bigger. This one does 4K as opposed to 1080 on the capsule. It also gets much brighter. But yeah, let me just talk about this one first. So this is the capsule, very portable. It gets plenty bright for its size. On the back here, we get the power button and then a mode switcher, so it can actually switch between a Bluetooth speaker or projector. And then this, I believe, is the infrared sensor for the remote. On the back here, we get a headphone jack port for if you wanted to hook up some external speakers. We also get an HDMI port as well as a Type-C for charging. On the top, we have this touchpad for navigating the menus and changing the volumes. And then on the bottom, we also get a 1/4-20 mount for like, if you want to put it on a stand. It actually also fits on a tripod. So you could do that in a pinch. And then this whole bottom is padded to make sure it is anti-slip on a table. And then on the front, we have our laser projector, which is 1080p, and it gets up to 300 lumens. And then on the bottom here is a camera, so it can basically look at your projection and autofocus it for you and auto keystone it for you, which we'll get into later. And then this guy, the Cosmos, obviously a little bit bigger, but a little bit of the same story. So we have the main projection lens on the front, which is 4K this time, and then a bunch more sensors. Flipping around on the back, we have power, HDMI, USB-A, and again, that same headphone jack for external audio. And then on the top here, we have the power button as well as this touch surface for navigating the menus, changing the volume, and all that good stuff. As far as build quality, I feel like these are very well made. It's very dense, so even though it's, I think, made of plastic, it feels very sturdy and yeah, very well made. And of course, they both come with remote controls. Now, some similarities between these two devices. Obviously, they're both laser, which means at the same power output as, let's say, a traditional lamp or LED, laser actually gets brighter, and that means they're a little more efficient, which is great for battery life. Some other similarities, they both also have built-in speakers. They're both also running Android TV, which is great because you can take advantage of stuff like Chromecast and Google Assistant. And then some other nerdy stuff, they also both support ARC, autofocus, and auto keystone. Okay, let's talk about my actual experience using these devices. So the first thing that sort of stuck out to me was how easy they were to set up and get going and just use in general. So basically, setup for these devices is you charge the device, if you're using this one, and then you find a blank wall, you turn it on, and that's basically it. The device actually takes care of everything else for you, including autofocus and auto keystone. So what keystone is let's say you are pointing it at a wall and it's not exactly perpendicular to the wall. What it does is project like this QR code looking grid type thing onto the wall. And then it takes that information and relays it back to the computer to be like, hey, this thing is not pointed directly at the wall, so we need to skew the image to make it look correct. And it actually does auto keystone, so every time you move the device, let's say you want to reposition it somewhere, it's gonna go through that whole process again. It literally takes like 2 seconds. And yeah, I found that to be really useful. Also, I love the versatility of how to control these devices. So you have 3 ways. The first way is just with the built-in touch controls on the device. The second way is through your phone. And then the third way is with the remote controls. So even if you forgot to bring the remote control, you still have 2 ways of accessing the devices. Now, the one question you might have is, can I use this even though I don't have a projector screen? And the answer is obviously yes. You can point this at any blank surface, any wall, or even the ceiling. These things get really bright, so you don't even have to have a projector screen. I was able to project on just my living room wall, which is like this off-white wall, and it looked fantastic. Now, as far as screen size goes, and size matters, according to Nebula, if you have these devices 5 feet away, it will give you a 60-inch diagonal. 11.5 feet away will yield a 120-inch diagonal, and that is huge. Like, These days, if you have like a 77-inch TV, that's considered pretty big, but 120 inches, that's big. I had these things probably like 12 feet back from the wall, and it was gigantic. Like it filled up my entire living room wall, and honestly, it was quite perfect and super immersive. So I can't wait to have movie nights with these guys and just invite friends over. It's gonna be sweet. As far as brightness goes, the Capsule 3 comes in at 300 lumens and the Cosmos goes all the way up to 2400 lumens. I had both of these devices about 12 feet away from the wall, and I will say that the Cosmos definitely gets much, much brighter than the Capsule, but honestly, the Capsule was pretty impressive for how small it is and how compact it is. Now, one fun feature with the Cosmos is that since the projection is so bright with this device, when somebody walks in front of it, it will actually display on the screen that the image is blocked and that you should move out of the way. So yeah, found that to be pretty sweet. Now, as far as fan noise goes, honestly, not noticeable at all. If anything, it was just a little bit in the background when no other noise was going, but once you have a movie playing or you're watching something, you can't even tell. And then there's the built-in speakers. Obviously, you're not gonna get the best sounding experience out of the Capsule because it's such a small and enclosed thing, but it honestly got quite a bit louder than I was expecting. Of course, the speakers in the Cosmos are gonna be a little bit better because there's more space to work with and they do get even louder. But with both of these devices, they do support ARC, so you can plug in an HDMI cable from your speakers. For example, I just got these wireless surround sound speakers, which come with this little receiver. And basically, you just take that HDMI cable from that receiver, plug it into here, and all of a sudden the sound is coming from your external speakers, which is pretty crazy. And that sound aspect was sort of a point that it clicked for me that this could honestly replace my TV. Like in just a few minutes, I was basically able to plug this in, plug in the HDMI cable for my surround sound, and it all just worked flawlessly. And the fact that this gets so much bigger than my old 50-inch TV, I just don't think I can go back. Now, the one complaint I have here is that this only has one HDMI input. So if you wanted to plug in a gaming console or an Apple TV or your computer or anything like that on top of the ARC, then you can't do that. Very, very impressed. I am gonna be replacing my TV with this Cosmos. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you wanna see more tech content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.